Jennifer Coffindaffer, former FBI special agent and NewsNation law and justice contributor. Good morning to you. The defense's theory that these girls were killed in this cult ritual. First, let's get to the motive of the defense. Is this to create a reasonable doubt?
Well, it certainly is. And they're trying to point to this unusual settings of these twigs and a number 7 that was apparently written in blood, possibly of one of the victims on the tree, to say this was a ritual. This was not just a killing by Richard Allen, that in fact, it would take more individuals to stage all this, to get both girls to comply and to murder them both in this small amount of time. So they're certainly trying to raise reasonable doubt.
This is so weird. I mean, just let's make it very plain. Most of us have never heard of Odinism. Do you have any research that you found specifically in this part of the country, in Indiana, that there is a tribe of people who ascribe to these cult beliefs?
Well, there certainly are individuals in this part of the town or this part of the country. It's a Nordic type of pagan religion. It's something that is not common, but it is practiced, Adrienne. So that's what is part of what makes this realistic in some way, you know, in terms of, and that is, see that picture you have right there? That is the type of setting that these twigs were in.
It's just similar. It's bizarre that we're just hearing about this. I mean, the allegations describe a potential police cover-up, again, by the defense, even claim some of the correctional officers guarding Allen, the prime suspect, are followers of this cult. But to find out about this 6 years later, is this far-fetched?
Well, recall, Adrienne, early on, actually, this was something that was looked at by police. It was taken very seriously, and they, in fact, had a college professor come down and at least look at the crime scene photos to try to analyze whether this could be Odinism. So it was something that was looked at and then was later dismissed. But I don't believe anyone has ever seen that report. And in fact, that individual who was hired, we don't even have a name.
So why bring it up again now? I mean, timing, you've been involved in other cases. The timing here, what do you make of it?
Well, the timing is spot on for the defense. Look, these 2 girls were brutally murdered with a knife. Again, a very horrific crime. And the jury is going to want to see that someone pays. If they don't believe Richard Allen did it, because the evidence in this case is not as compelling as some other cases. We only have a shell casing. And again, it wasn't from a fired bullet. It was from a bullet that was unfired that fell to the ground. So those markings are going to be less made, the tool markings, than a fired round. So the evidence isn't as compelling. And if they get that search warrant evidence thrown out, then their case is over.
But how do they measure that against the actual confession of Richard Allen?
Well, that's a perfect point, because he does confess. But again, the defense is going to argue, look at the conditions he was in. He wasn't held in a jail like most individuals before conviction. We've seen the photos of the weight loss. We've seen the photos of really how terrible he looks. It's reported that he was eating his papers and his notes, that that he kind of lost his mind. So certainly the defense is going to try to say that's why he confessed over the phone to his wife.
He confessed because he lost his marbles, or he confessed because he's guilty, but he knows more than what he's told investigators? I mean, essentially, is this going to aid in getting him a lesser sentence because he's not going to get off?
Well, we don't know whether he's going to get off or not. I agree with you that whenever somebody confesses, often that is just so compelling, because it's rare, although it does happen, that innocent people confess. But they're going to say, yes, Adrienne, he sort of lost his marbles in there, as you put it, and he made this confession in a very, in a state of mental weakness, if you will. Mm-hmm. But the prosecution is going to say, no, he made this confession because he did this crime.
Yeah, Jennifer Coffindaffer, it's just so sad that these 2 little girls are dead, and there's so much mystery still around these murders 6 years later. Hopefully the family gets closure soon. Thank you again, as always. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.